Hola, welcome, Bem-vindo to Yarn Stories with Olivia. This is episode 18 of my channel here on YouTube, where I talk about my love of knitting, crocheting, and all things yarn. I am a lifetime yarn crafter and an equal opportunity yarn consumer. So today is a special episode. This is my Podiversary episode. It's been 1 year since I gained the courage to press record and talk to my phone about my yarn makes. And I am so happy that I took on that challenge. And I'll talk more about that towards the middle to the end of this episode. I do have a gift away to announce, and I hope you stick around with me long enough to see what it is. But first, I wanted to do the admin things. I am Olivia30 on Ravelry, where you'll find all of my projects with my project notes. In case I forget to mention something here, you can find it there. I'm also Olivia30M on Instagram, where I post quite frequently my progress with my makes or my finished projects, as well as little life stories that pop up throughout the week. You're welcome to go find me there. And I'm going to be talking to you about 5 finished projects, maybe 6-ish. There's one that's sort of an ongoing project that I've talked about a little bit before, but I'll show you what I mean today. I have 4 works in progress. I have some dream knitting on the side here, just looking at me, waiting to be talked about. And as I said, I'll talk about the gift away at the end, as well as how this channel came to be. I will save that for the story time section of this podcast. So let's talk about my recent finishes. Let's start with what I'm wearing. I am not wearing a hand knit item. This is a store-bought machine knit top that I'm wearing, but it matches my most recent make really, really well. And that's why I'm wearing it. This is the Sophie Shawl. I know many of you have made them. I know many of you have seen it, but this is my first one. So it's very special. I made it with leftover yarn from another project that I'm going to show you in a second. But let me just say, I can't believe it's taken me this long to make one of these. As other projects that I've made, I tend to not want to get on the bandwagon. Everybody's making it. I want to make something different. And then I give in and I make it because so many other people are making it. And I realize there's a reason why so many other people are making it, because it's a great knit. So there's a story about me and the Sophie scarf. It's not going to be my last one, that's for certain. I've already got some yarn set aside to make some more. I absolutely love it. It fits so nicely. I'll put a little video here of me. I put it on Instagram of me styling it to wear it earlier. I had to do a work event, so I dressed it up with my little scarf. And it is, so I'm not going to untangle it now because the video will show you, but as you know, it's the middle is a width and then the ends narrow down. This is how I chose to wear it. I fold it over a little bit here, and then I've got it knotted in the middle, and it's just right. I can wear it a little jauntily, which that's how I had it earlier, but as I've been moving around setting up, it's moved on me. And yeah, here's my little Sophie scarf. For this, I used Liberty Wool Classic Elite yarn. It doesn't have a colorway name. It's color 78139. It is a let's see, it is a machine wash cold lay flat to dry. It is 100% washable wool. And I believe I picked this up at a local yarn shop that was closing. And this was part of her clearance items that she had. I picked up 2 balls. So this is deep stash. I had 2 50-gram balls. And this is also what I used for my other finished object, which was finished before this and what inspired me working on this. So they kind of go together, so I'll talk about them both at the same time. It is my green dashed beanie. I would have talked a little bit about this if I didn't talk about this exact one. I did make one for my husband. Talked about it in the last episode. I made one in Malabrigo Rios in the color Azul. This is a Benjamin Matthews pattern. It is called a Dashed Beanie. And I am a fan of all of his hats. I have made several for my husband, and I've made some for me. And I believe this is my third one that I've made for me. They fit so, so well. It is constructed where it's a 5-inch 2x2 rib. You can see the crease, and the reason why the crease is there is because this hat has had quite a bit of good wear recently. It has been really, really cold here, so I've been wearing this hat to work in the mornings. So you've got your 5-inch rib. You fold it, and then that's what's so great about these hats is that you can adjust it to the fit on your head the way you want it. I tend to adjust it higher in the back than the front, and it just fits the back of my head really well. And it is knit 2 purl 2 with this little stitch element, and it's the decreases are perfect. I had thought I was going to put a pom-pom on it, but I like it so much as it is, I didn't bother with a pom-pom. So to make this hat, let me talk about the hat a little bit, which is this was the project that I had in hand when I was at Nogue. There's a reason why I'm saying Nogue. At Vogue Knitting Live. It was the project that I worked on while I was walking around the marketplace, or when I just sat down to get a little break. But I finished the hat was when I got home, and since I had 2 balls of this yarn, and the goal for me, it's always been the goal. It's not new for this year. It's something that I've been planning for a while, is I have to use up all the yarn. So since I had these 2 balls in this colorway, let me do the projects with it so that I can call it finished with that yarn. And I believe the hat took 36 grams to finish. So I had 14 grams left from the first ball. Added with the other 50, I ended up with 64 grams of yarn. And I thought 64 grams would be perfect for a Sophie scarf. The 50 grams, I worry that it's a little too small for me, because I did want it to wrap up around so that I can knot it in the front. So from the 2 50s, which was 100 grams of yarn and this classic elite wool, this is what I've got left. And it's perfect. This is exactly how I'd hope it would end, with just a little bit left over, which all it's good for is for putting into the scraps basket for stuffing, which I'll talk about yarn stuffing later on as well. And yeah, so my 2 finished makes: Dashed Beanie, Sophie Scarf by PetiteKnit. I should say that this is Matthew's pattern is a $6 pattern right now on Ravelry. He does offer up his patterns free for the first 48 hours when he releases them. So if you give him a follow, check out his Ravelry page and keep an eye out for when he releases his new patterns. I believe he's about to release one, or if he hasn't already, this weekend. And that'll be a great time for you to grab up one of his patterns. I have several in my several on my Ravelry library. So I talked about this in the last episode. And I'll try not to repeat it all. If you want to hear more about it, if you go back to the last episode, I'll explain it there better. So my friend Cindy had picked up this some yarn in Alaska when she went on a trip, and she brought the yarn back, and I had told her that I would make her a souvenir project with the yarn that she had bought. And I wasn't sure which pattern to make, but I settled on one. So wrap up Olivia here. I forgot to put on here that in the last episode, I put a call out for suggestions on what shawls would be good to knit with a yarn, and I did have some great ones. So I'll put a little a photo here of the comments that I received, which interestingly enough were shawls that I already had in my library or shawls that I had already knit. So thank you. I can't recall now what the names are. And it was Nicole, it was Rosemary, and there was one more that I can't remember. I'm sorry. So thank you for the comments. As you'll see, I did read them, and I'm giving you guys the shout out for commenting on the episode. I did talk about once a while back, if you wanted to leave me a comment, I would feature it on the podcast. So here it is. So let's go back to where I was with my finished makes. It is done and it is beautiful. The yarn worked up so nicely. You see, if I hold it up on this side, you can see more of the blue. The shade of it, it's got that dark blue with a blue jean blue. And the pattern I decided to use for this magnificent skein of yarn, which, let me show you the pattern first and I'll tell you about the yarn. So this is what, so it's, oh, I got the wrong end. So it starts here. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's by, I think Bobkova? No, Katerina Bobkova. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It starts off with, your decreases on one side and increases on the other side. It has this little break in between of lace, so you're not just knitting stockinette. And there's another break of lace there, and at the end. And I use all 437 yards of this yarn. The yarn is Juno Woolies, which is, the base is Cozy Toes. It's a 75 superwash merino, 25 nylon. It was 437 yards and the color was Winter Peaks. And I used a US 6 or a 4mm needle to work on this scarf. So the last episode I talked about how I was going to try to give it to her when I saw her on the weekend, that we were going to be together. We were going to be scrapbooking together. Yes, I do scrapbook. I am trying to get my pre-internet photos in albums, or I should say my pre-K photos, meaning pre-kids photos that I have, into albums. So my boys will have to share with their children later on the story of their grandparents. For those of you that might be new, I am a librarian by trade, and I believe really strongly in preserving memories. I'm not an archivist, I'm just a librarian, but I do love that as librarians, we are caretakers of history and archives. And I love looking at photos that we have in our collection from days gone by. So I know how important it is to have those memories, those family memories as well. So that's why I do it once a year. It's not a hobby that I invest a lot of time in. I used to, not any longer, because my whole life is about yarn now. But I do try to get together with my group of friends at least once, if not twice a year, for us to socialize and spend time scrapbooking our family histories. And so that was last weekend. And the plan was to give this to Cindy, who's a diehard scrapbooker, as I am a diehard yarn lover. And but I didn't finish it. I was almost finished, and I finished it when I got home on Sunday night. She had asked me to finish it and then give it to her the next time we meet up, because she wants me to show her how to wear it. I told her it's just a scarf, but when I told her it was a shawl, and she says, the way I always wear my scarf so pretty, she wants me to show her how to wear it. So the next time we get together, I'll show her how to wear this, which is just, it's just, wrapping it around and dropping it. And I'll wear it over my Sophie scarf so I don't take it out. So that's, the 437 yards is a perfect amount for this pattern. This will have been my third spring shawl that I've made. I'd made 2 for me last summer to take on my vacation. Highly recommend it. Quick, easy knit, no brainer for that special skein of yarn that you have lying around. The other skein I haven't balled up, which is she bought 2 skeins, one for me to make something for her to wear, and one for me to make one for me. And I'll probably do that closer to the next time we get together, and I might do the same pattern, or I might do the Close to You shawl, which is another pattern that I love to make. And then she can decide which shawl she prefers, which pattern she prefers. For me, I love both of them. It won't matter, but we'll talk more about that when I start working on that. The Alaska spring shawl for Cindy to gift to her. To gift her back the yarn she bought. But I really enjoyed doing it. So she gave me a gift in it as well, not just because she bought me some of the yarn, but because she knows how much I enjoy the knitting. It's a type of gift that gives, what is it? You'd say it's the type of gift that keeps on giving. So, object number 3 that's finished. What should we talk about next? So I've got 1, 2, 3. I am going to jump over to a crochet item and then go to the next knitted item. So crochet. I think I've talked about this a few times, how I've got people at work that know I'm a crocheter because I, wear my crochet makes. And a couple of weeks ago, I wore my Ariana cardigan, which is all granny squares, and she admired it. And I could see that she was, oh, I wonder if you'd ever make one for me. Yeah, that, if I made another one, which I absolutely love the Ariana cardigan, I made it in a worsted weight yarn, so it feels like I'm wearing a nice cozy blanket. And as I said, it's been a little cold here, and it was one of those days where it just felt so cozy to wear at work. But I won't make one as a gift. If I make another one, I'll make it for me. There's a lot of squares in there to sew up. But I did want to make her something. And another time she mentioned that she loves berets. And I had already made her one in black. Her favorite colors are black and red. I had made her a black one just for her to try it on to see if it fit. It did. She loved it. So when she saw me with the Ariana cardigan and wondered if there was any potential for me ever making her one, I said, how about I just make you another beret instead? So I did. And I'm going to be giving it to her tomorrow. But I haven't talked about this on the podcast, so I thought I would, in case you are looking for a nice, quick, easy crochet gift to make. And it's another free pattern. It is a pattern from Yarnspirations, and it is called the Crochet Granny Beret. And here it is. So this is, let me hold it this way so you can see it. So it goes like, and so there we go. That's the red. You see the red? And this is what the pattern is. And this, as I said, it's a free pattern. It's a Yarnspiration pattern. This is what it looks like. And the chart is there along with their example. Now, I haven't really talked about this before. While I am really good at reading knitting patterns because I learned how to knit at the library, and they gave me a pattern and taught me what the stitches meant, and that's how I learned how to knit. I learned how to crochet was by watching my aunt crochet. She would make samples, give it to me, and then I would have to break it apart. So she would have made something like this. I would have taken it home and I would have counted the stitches, and that's how I did it. So fun fact about me is I have a very hard time reading the crochet chart. I look at that and sometimes it's just like, whoa, okay. So I actually, when I do this, I actually use the picture to tell me what the stitches are to do next. And that's how it works for me. Just a little side note. I'm able to decipher it by looking at it exactly what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe someday it'll make sense when I read the crochet charts. But at this point, I've been crocheting for over 40 years, and I still need to see it in order to understand it. Just a little side fact about me. So here is the beret, which I'll be giving to her at work tomorrow. as I said, she loves red and black. She wears a lot of red and black. And let's see how, look how chic my beret looks. With my little jaunty, oh, no, maybe I'll do it this way. My little jaunty, no. Look at that. What do you think? Huh? Do I look like I'm ready for, that looks good, doesn't it? Yeah, I'll keep it on. Let me see. Let me do a little thing so you can see how it looks in the back. It's got, it fits really, really nicely. And yeah, look at that. I think I might be making some more of these in the future. I think it works really well. That's the story of the beret. Yeah, afterwards I'll have to take a photo for the for the thumbnail. So highly recommend this pattern if you want to make a quick crochet project. Yarnspirations free pattern. Oh, and I should say this is just red heart. It's red heart Simply Soft red yarn that I had in stash. That's finished object number 4. Next on my list is, yes, I did it. I did what everybody else seems to be doing. I couldn't resist. I want you to meet this adorable gnome. Is Natty the Unexpected Gnome from Imagine Landscapes. And he is so cute. My little roly-poly. When I was working on him, I finished them yesterday and I showed it to my husband. My husband fell in love with him. My husband said, oh, is he for me? So I can put it next to my laptop so he can cheer me up when I'm having to work. And I said, sure, I'll give it to you. I just was making it to try, because I haven't really made any stuffed toys. And he said, well, you're going to name him after me. And that's why his name is Gnao. And I'll put it here. How it's spelled, if you know, it's how I have it on Instagram. So my husband's name is Gnoao, John. So the J is gone. So it's Gnaoa. He does look like a Gnoao. So meet Gnoao. So let's see, what can I say about him? So I knit him with, where's my little basket? My little basket. So I used, oh, I got stuff here, my little, this is one of those rope baskets that I think I picked up at the local job lot, or I'm not even sure. But anyway, it's one of those baskets that I like because I can throw everything in it and I can just move it from couch to couch where I sit. So the pattern does recommend a US 1 and a US 2 needle. And I had this mystery orange yarn. I can't remember what project it was from. It might have been some shawl that I made from a long time ago, but I had enough of this that I figured I'd have plenty to make the hat. So that's what I used for the hat. For the body, I used this yarn that I had picked up at the local thrift store. I had this out because I had used this gray, which is Knit Picks Pearlescent. I had used this gray in the socks that I just recently finished in January, the Splendiferous socks. So this yarn had some great tones in it, and I thought these three together obviously would make a perfect Gnoao. And he is. Every time I look at him, I just want to smile because he's so cute. The nose came out a little bulbous, but that's because I ended up using the size 2 needles for the nose, which I was supposed to use the 2 for the hat. Instead, I ended up making the hat with a 1, so it's a very tight knit. And because I did the nose first, and then I did the beard, and then the arms, because one of the reasons why I've never really made toys is because I don't care much for the finish work and the idea of having to make them. But I shouldn't have been afraid because it worked up so fast. It was just silly of me to think that anyway. so the hat, because I use the size 1 needle, it's really snug. The right here above his shoulder blades there. It's as you can see, I've got a little indentation there. So if I had used it too, it would have been a little wider and it would have gone over his shoulders a little bit better. But it's okay because it gives his little noggin there a little cover. And it gives it more of a brim look. And yeah, the body was knit in the size 1 and it's stuffed. I didn't put any beans or rice in it. It's just the yarn stuffing I have in it, and he holds up. He lays pretty flat. He stands pretty well. So I didn't need to put anything inside of it. I stuffed him really, really well. Now stuffing, this is what I was talking about earlier about yarn stuffing, where this is going to end up. The way I stuff, I don't use the, what do you call that stuff? The fluff that goes in that you buy at the store. I don't use, it's not that I've made a lot of things that needed stuffing. One year I made a whole bunch of pumpkins, and the stuffing inside the pumpkins was yarn. So I keep every little bit of yarn left over, where I put it in a, let's see if I can get it for you. I put it in a glass jar. I have these downstairs in my craft room. Everything goes in here and it gets really pushed down. I've got 2 or 3 of these downstairs, and I just put all of my scraps that aren't going to be anything else. And this is what I'll use to stuff, and that's what I used to stuff him. So I had made a little dent in here, but I have filled it because I've been making other things with scrap yarn. So the jar is getting filled. I'm going to talk about that next. And so let me show you what I meant by six-ish finishes. So this is my bag of all of my scraps. The glare's there. It's just one of these plastic bags, and this is where all of my acrylic scraps go. This is the scraps from the stuff that I make for the craft shows. I keep everything that's left over. I still think that there might be use for it, and there's something I find to do with them is coasters. And if you followed me on Instagram, you saw me post a picture about this. So here's all of the coasters that I've got made. So what I do is, this is 40, right? So it starts with 10, 20, 30, 40 double crochets in the round, obviously. And then I do the crab stitch or the reverse single crochet around, and I will double it up with a color that's, that's complementary to it, and it gives it that finishing look. In this case, it's a solid one because it didn't need this yarn that I have here was a bulkier weight yarn, so that didn't need to be doubled up. Here's an example of this is what was left over, the red from the hat, and I had some white yarn, and I just put the white with the red, and there's how it looks finished up. Here's another example. I know there's some going on about this, but just so you can see, so since we're on the green theme, here's one that's all green. And here's one where it was gray, and I used the last of the green to give it a little pop of color on the edge. And when I have this basket full, I take it into work. It's actually just about full here. I take it into work and I put it at the counter, the checkout counter, and with a little note that says, help yourself to one if you're in need of a coaster. And they go. If I take this in tomorrow, I'll have the basket empty by the time I get, probably by 1 o'clock when I go to lunch, they'll all be gone. That's the story of my 6-ish finished items. And there's absolutely nothing else I can do with the yarn. It's not even enough for the trim. It goes in here. And so my current works in progress. I mentioned in the last episode that I was going to join in on the 12 Cast-Ons 2025. which is hosted by Angie of Yarn and Yarns podcast. I could have easily cast on 24 items. There are so many items that I want to make, but I had to stop myself because I do have a whip basket with about 10 or 12 items that have gotten forgotten. I have to get back to that too because it's like, I have to finish those whips. I have to. Because they were items that I want to make to wear, and they're just sitting in the bags because I just keep seeing all of these beautiful other items that I want to make. And there's items that I'll make, like the Sophie scarf, that I want to make more because then I get attached to doing this. And I see all the yarn I have in the house that I could quickly use up by making these. Yeah. The first one I'm going to show you is, I've got it here in this bag that was made by Manuela of Do Coração Atelier. She had gifted me this when I was in Porto in June visiting. I wasn't sure I made the right decision for this yarn for this project at first, but I'm thinking I'm going to love it when it's done. And I am working on the Wilfreda. I can just do this. So this is the Wilfreda top. And I have done the first cable. I'm at that point, and it's hard to see because, as I said, I wasn't sure if I made the right decision with the yarn, but I think once it's done, I am going to be very, very happy with it. And let me show you what the Wilfreda looks like, in case you haven't seen it. This is the Wilfreda. And it is knit in a large gauge. There I go again, why I even try to say that word, because I can't say that word. I'm using size 10 needles, so it does knit up really, really fast. If I didn't have so many other whips, I probably could have gotten further ahead with this. But this is going to, now that I finished Gnoao, the gnome, and the shawl for Cindy, and the crochet hat for Lexi, and the Sophie scarf for me. This is gonna be my go-to knit. Probably what I'll be knitting tonight because it's Super Bowl Sunday. And so what is the yarn that I'm using? Let's see if you can really see it. So the yarn that I'm using is the yarn that I picked up at Knit with Friends Festival. It is the Feliz y Punto. This is a 75% silk and 25% linen. It is Moniji, the color. And I got 3 skeins of this at the festival. And I barely used a quarter of it for the Pier 39 top. This is what I used for the stripes on the Pier 39 top. And here's what I've got that I'm working out of right now. This is the color Caked Up. There we go. That's it right there. It's got some beautiful tones of browns in it. And because it is a very thin yarn, I wanted to pair it with a mohair so that I could have a little bit more body to it. And the mohair that I'm using is Lana Grossa silk hair. And it is, does it have a colorway name? It doesn't. It says color 195. And I picked this up from my local yarn shop in Fall River, Massachusetts, KG Crafts. She has quite a few colors of this mohair. It was hard to decide which one to grab. So this is the two together. I thought this peach color would complement that really well. The dark brown would have taken this away. And so those are the two colors. And yeah, this is what it would have looked like knit up without the mohair. And this is what it's looking like with the mohair, which goes to show how much mohair tames a color. But I am really, really happy with it. I thought I would be allergic or I'd be uncomfortable with mohair, but I have a love note that I knit with mohair, and it's fine. I love wearing it. It's light, it's warm, and I think this is going to look. First, I wasn't sure because it's so light, but I think it's gonna look really, really nice. So that is my current work in progress. The Wilfreda. So that's work in progress number 1. We're going to call it number 1 and not call it number 16. The next one that I'm working on is Alternathumb Mittens by Ellie Jones. And I'm using a US 2 Haya Sharp to make these. And this is what the mittens look like. And I have it in another little sock bag that I have from Du Coudescent Atelier. And I am using a mystery yarn that I can't find the band for. And I have kicked this up a while ago. But I have enough to make the mittens. And this is about as far as I have for it. So I have just the cuff made. And these I did so that I could enter them into the 12 cast-ons of 2025. The cutoff was January 31st. So I've got a whole year to finish these. So work in progress number 17. And then, well, next one, the last one I want to show you, because it's part of the whole, January cast-ons. I decided to cast on another pair, and again, I should show you. I have it in my another Du Coudescent Atelier bag. I love Manuela's bags. I have a lot of project bags. I have a stash of them. But these, because this one I was using for this yarn, since it was empty, it was easy to use it now for this next one. The next one I want to show you is a pair of socks that I cast on. And it is, I talked about it last episode, it's the Splendiferous socks by Nancy Wheeler. This is what the pattern looks like. I finished a pair last month, which are being worn by the husband right now as we speak. They did not come out the way I had hoped that they would be. Nothing to do with the pattern. The pattern is beautiful. It's very well written. Nancy's an amazing pattern writer. And I should say it's Nancy of Knit Sip Happy. She's Nancy Wheeler on Ravelry. And it's because I made the wrong yarn choice. I just picked up a white and a black yarn, but the makeup of the yarns was different. One was the pearlescent Knit Picks, and the other one was the Knit Picks Hawthorne. Yeah, and they're different compositions. So it didn't knit up the way I liked. And I also noticed after I posted the picture on Ravelry that I totally missed one final step in the pattern around the ankle. But the husband hasn't noticed, so let's not tell him anything, okay? And the other thing is, I had initially planned them for the son, and the son had said he only wanted the pattern in the cuff of the leg, or on the leg, and for the foot he wanted solid. But again, the Hawthorne knit up much differently than I thought it would, and it was too large of a sock for the son. The son is a smaller size foot than Dad. So Dad got a pair of socks that he wasn't expecting, and he loves them because they fit him perfectly, and he's very impressed with the pattern. And he says that he's quite content that the pattern will go all the way down the foot, because he's wearing them with his Crocs. Nobody would have really seen the pattern anyway. But because I wanted to give this pattern a complete, like I have to do it all the way through the way it was intended to be, because to give it justice. It is a beautiful pattern. I've cast on another pair, and this is what I have so far. And again, I know I've got a whole year to make these. I have these cast on in a US 2, which I've said before, US 2 275 millimeter, which is my preferred needle for knitting socks. And I do the 64 stitch count. And for this one, I am using the Meias. I'm using Maya from Rosarios 4, which was gifted to me at Christmas time by Manuela. And also, so this is color 19, and this is color 110, which is speckled variegated. Also Maya by Rosarios 4. So the two together, I thought were gonna look really nice in this pattern. So I've got the pop of color already going, and I've got the rib, and I'm about to start the pattern on them. And yeah, so I'm hoping that these are going to give the pattern more justice than the last pair. Nancy has a new pattern that was just released. I just picked that up as well. Nancy has, when she releases a pattern the first week, the proceeds from that go to charity. And this month was heart health related. And I had to pick up a pattern for me. I picked up a couple to gift as well, in support of the charity. So heart health is something that has a deep meaning for me, and I thought that would be appropriate to get the sock pattern, share it with friends, and support Nancy and what she's doing in supporting the organization. I think that's all. Oh no, I got one more. I got one more. The other work in progress that I have started, and I've got it here in one of these little fair trade baskets. And I have it because it was all caked up already. It's Cloudborn. I'm using Cloudborn Fibers yarn, which is a sport weight yarn. And I have I had caked up these yarns to bring with me to Vogue Knitting Live for the knitting class with Andre of Andre Knits. We were asked to bring in some yarns, sport weight preferably, to do the color work. So I had caked them up, and I had them here, and I thought I'm not going to put them back in the bin with the other yarn. I have to use it. So I decided to use the yarn, and I'll show you the colors in a second. I decided to use the yarn to make the shift. The Shift by Andrea Mallory. Again, another one of those patterns that so many people have made, and I have the pattern, but I had never made it, and I thought it was time. So here's what mine is looking like. I am doing the solids. So I've got the browns going with the beige and then the blue with the beige. I'm not sure how it's going to work out in the end, but for now, I'm okay with how it's working up with the solids. I've got plenty of other yarn that I could use for the shift, but because I have them caked up, let's use them. So it'll be interesting to see how it works up. We'll see. I'm about to start to put the blue now with a brown, the third color. We'll see how it works up. And the colors that I'm using are, so the brown is Espresso Heather. The beige is, I've got it, my little tag in here. The beige is Taupe Heather. And the blue, yeah, I do have a little tag. I put the little tags in here so I wouldn't lose them. The blue is Dolphin Blue. You can hear my husband downstairs talking to Gary. Gary wants attention right now. My door is closed up here. Yeah, so the shift in the solid color. So we'll see how it works up as it progresses. So work in progress number 4 for this episode, but 18 overall. Someday I might do a whip parade of the other things because that would hold me accountable and I would have to get it done, right? Okay, what to talk about next? So I said we were going to talk about dream knitting, and I'm trying very hard not to do it. I am so ready to cast this on. This is a pattern from Laura Ayler, Fogbound Knits on Ravelry. It's 3 ridges. I love this sweater. My friend Robin had made one, and I've been wanting to cast it on for a while. And I have this Jaeger spun yarn in stash. That would be, it's a worsted weight pattern, so this would be perfect for it. This is 100% wool. It's 100 grams, and it's 166 yards, and the color is Blue Mist. And I have enough in stash that I could make this sweater. And I know that I have enough worsted weight in stash. For the pattern, you need to get is 3 other colors to make the design. But so far, I've resisted the temptation to cake it up. So it's just sitting here looking at me. The other is I did put in to be a test knitter, but I didn't get selected. But as soon as the pattern came out, I bought it because I absolutely love this sweater. It is the Christmas Bell by Isabel Kramer. I want to use that fiber seed yarn, and I'm planning to do it red, but with the white in the pattern. So that one is getting ready. My other 2 dream knittings are, I pulled out this Rowan felted tweed 50 grams to make a Sophie scarf for my sister who loves purple. And then I have this Rosarius 4 yak that had been gifted to me by the team of Rosarius 4 when I was at the Knit with Friends Festival. And I wanted to try making with it. In fact, I think Gary wanted to try to knit with it too. Because when I was putting my basket together to talk about here on the podcast, this ball was missing. And I found them with it. So I don't have a video here of him. Or if not a video, a photo of him when he got caught. So these are the other 2. I forgot to mention that what I used was, I didn't use a size 5. I used a size 7 needle for this to give it a looser gauge. There I go again with that word. A looser gauge. Why do I even bother? I used US 7. I have these knit picks with needles that I love for now shawl knitting. So I use 7. So that's what I'll use for these as well, is the size 7. So these may be the next ones to be cast on. No, I said that I had 17 works in progress. Do I want to make it to 20? Should I? Should I make it to 20? We'll see. All right. If you've stayed with me this long, thank you, thank you, thank you. I do put chapters in, so you probably, didn't have to listen to all of that. You can just click on the chapter for what I'm about to talk next, which is the Podiversary piece, 1 year on YouTube, talking about my yarn makes, and what I have as a gift away. So I decided to record, last year was February 2nd. It was our scrapbooking weekend, and I was home that morning packing all of my scrapbook supplies when I decided to, no, let me just try and record a little bit about my yarn makes. And I did. I recorded. It was February 2nd, and took me about a week to learn how to edit. And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm thinking, well, this is just so I could learn something new. I want to learn how to edit in iMovie and see what it comes out. And after about a week it was done, it looked pretty decent. I uploaded it to YouTube, but I did not have the courage to make it public. I left it sitting there, and I made it public on February 14th. Yeah, that was my Valentine's gift to me, was to just be brave and just make it public. What did I have to be afraid of? If you go back and watch my episode 1, you'll see that I talk about all of this and the decision to do it. and why I decided to do it. So this time of year is a tough time of year for me, and doing this is giving me a whole other sense of it brings joy to my heart. It is this time of year when my mom passed away suddenly. She had she suffered a major heart attack, was with us one day, gone the next day, hence why any charity that has anything to do with heart health is something that means a lot to me. And she was always my biggest cheerleader in everything that I did. She always wanted me to give things a try. She had more courage than I could possibly ever imagine having. I mean, this is the woman that, with 4 small children, convinced her husband that we needed to immigrate to the United States and that she would do whatever it took to make sure we had a good life here. I could never have the courage that she had when she was 40 years old to pack up everything that meant something, sell off everything that didn't need to be brought over. Although I will say she did bring some of her yarn with her, some of her threads, and some of her needles. Some of those things you cannot part with. And yeah, and that's why I said if she had that kind of courage, why didn't I? So public it became, and I was so pleasantly surprised that people actually jumped on here. So if you've been with me from the beginning, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate and value your time. For those of you that have joined me along the way, thank you again. And if you found me by chance as a new one and you're subscribing because I'm having a gift away, I am thrilled that you're here, because the more people that subscribe and like and comment, the more my channel gets out there, because there will be other people out there that will be interested in hearing my yarn stories. So with that said, I have my gift away to talk about. And what I am going to gift away, I did have a couple of bags that I bought many when I went to New York Sheep and Wool, because I loved the logo so much. And I have gifted it, some of the bags to some of my friends. A lot of my friends had gone too, so they had gone bags. But I have 2 left that I don't have. Now I don't need them because I have others. And I would love to give these away if you're interested. If you would like to get the New York Sheep and Wool 2024 logo bag, I've got the medium size and the small bag, sock size, or the larger size for a shawl project. Leave me a comment that you are interested in getting the bags. I will add to the bags the medium or the small. Let me know which size you want. I will throw in a skein of Pontinhos ao Vento soft sock base yarn. This is yarn I brought with me from Portugal. This is I bought this at the Knit with Friends Festival with the idea of having it as a gift away for the podcast. It is a 85% merino, 15% nylon, and it's 100 grams. And it is so, so soft. So I spent a little bit of time at this booth. She has beautiful yarn, and I couldn't resist not bringing some back to share it with you. So I have this skein of yarn with, that'll go in the bag if you want the sock size bag or the shawl size bag. And I also have a pair of Chiago 9-inch circular needles. I had bought these to give it a try, but I can't work with them. I've knit 1 pair of socks with these, and I'm a magic loop person. I just can't. But if you are a 9-inch circular needle sock knitter and want to try a pair of Chiagos, let me know. So what I'll do is comment below if you want which size bag you want, and I will put these 2 along with the bag as the price. And if somebody just wants the bag, let me know you just want the bag. And I'll be happy to pass that on. So those are my thank you gifts for you being there on that side listening to me. And I think that's all I have. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you again for being here with me. I really appreciate your time. I value your time as you're listening to me. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share if you know someone that would enjoy this. Leave me a comment. Even if you're not interested in the gift away, leave me a comment. Let me know what it is that you're working on. If you have any questions for me. Thank you for joining me. Muito obrigada por assistirem. Until next time. Até a próxima. Tchau.